yeah, it's real. It's not just on TV. It really could happen.
You guys, I call this what? The motivator. I'm going to square this thing off right now so you get at least an idea what it sounds like. Right?
This is bullshit, so we're done.
All your mothers and your brothers and your sisters and your fathers and everybody walking this land. No matter your race, your creed, your tribe, your nation you defend. With open hearts, open minds, lend a helping hand each time to the mothers and the brothers and the sisters and the fathers. Everybody walking this land.
How much they pay to spin the sign?
They started me off at $8 an hour.
Yeah.
And now my wage has gone up to $10.50 an hour now.
So are you living the American dream?
The American dream right now? Oh, no.
What happened to the American dream?
I believe it's dead, I'm saying, because the Illuminati has taken over the American dream. The Illuminati has taken over everything.
So did anybody you went to high school with become millionaires?
No. Those who get that kind of money, usually it's a few officers here. They usually either have joined some secret society or they are a member of the LGBT community.
Where do you know? How do you know these things?
I've been studying this stuff. It's all on YouTube.
Everybody walking this land.
Ta avkjøringen til høyre, deretter hold til venstre ved veiskillet.
Nå jeg i Kansas City. Dette byen hvor faren min vokste opp.
Kjør mot nordøst, om 2 engelske mil. Kjør mot nord, fortsett rett frem, om 2 engelske mil. Ta avkjøringen til høyre. Kjør mot nord, deretter ta avkjøringen til høyre, om 1,5 engelsk mil. Ta avkjøringen til høyre.
Ok, vi tar det når hun ferdig med det bablinga si.
Kjør mot sørvest, fortsett rett frem.
Min reise gjennom mitt første hjemland, eller første kjærlighet om du vil, nærmer seg slutten. Og denne reisen har gått inn på meg. Jeg ville finne den amerikanske drømmen, men i stedet fant jeg noe ganske annet. Det som en gang var et mulighetenes land, framtidsrettet og med vidåpen horisont, har blitt til en nasjon preget av håpløshet, skuffelse og frykt.
In a nutshell, you want to know what you have in Detroit? The used to have, who's way more dangerous than the guy that's never had anything. The guy that used to have something, he's angry, and he's unpredictable.
Et land hvor noen få lever i ekstrem rikdom, mens de fleste lever bare noen $100 unna økonomisk ruin.
Yeah. There's people that are worse off than us, or just barely making it like us, and I think that's most of America.
We gather here, we line up, weeping in a sunlit room. And if I'm on fire, you'll be made of ashes too.
Det et land som har mistet troen på seg selv, ødelagt av fattigdom, dopepidemier og identitetskamp. Siden jeg bodde her på 70-tallet har den amerikanske drømmen gått fra å være en reell mulighet for ganske mange til å bli en saga blott for de fleste, inkludert min egen familie. Så hva nå, USA? For når krybben tom, så bites hestene. Den amerikanske krybben definitivt tom for veldig mange, og bitingen i gang. Men mange av hestene, eller menneskene, har våpen, og det amerikanske fellesskapsprosjektet revet i stykker. Amerika, nå jeg redd. Hvordan skal dette gå?
This land was made for you and me.
Nå jeg i Kansas City, byen der faren min vokste opp, broren min født her, besteforeldrene mine bodde her i mange, mange år, og nå skal jeg hente fetteren min, Craig, og jeg skal prøve å få med han til det som igjen av slektsgården, som ligger ca. 2 timer vestover, ute på prærien. Fy faen!
Ta avkjøringen til høyre.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man.
How's it going?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I thought we were going to pick you up at home. You live at Bank of America?
Well, I stayed up all last night working.
You've been working all night?
Yeah. I'm the computer guy.
Mm-hmm. So you haven't slept?
Yeah, I'm okay.
So, you want to go out to the Smith farm?
Sure.
Whatever's left of it?
Sure, we can do that.
Have you been out there? Well, let's go. You ready?
Right. Yeah.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Craig den av søskenbarna mine jeg har hatt mest kontakt med opp gjennom åra. Vi jevnaldrende, og det var alltid vi to som hang mest sammen som barn.
But you used to have a different job, didn't you?
I was a printer for 10 years. It was literally the worst place ever. People were always losing their fingers. We worked 12-hour days and we only had a 30-minute lunch. I mean, literally that place was like the worst place to ever work. I actually got fired for drawing a cartoon.
Really?
You know, like you always have a guy that like kisses ass to the boss, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I drew this cartoon of him like sucking the boss's dick. And we made copies of it and put it by the time clock. So they fired me.
Wow. Life throws you for some loops, huh?
It does.
Denne prærievinden vi kaller livet selv har spredt Craig og søskene hans godt utover dette svære landet. Og de siste årene har de glidd langt fra hverandre også politisk. Den største avstanden nok mellom storesøster Kim, som de siste årene har blitt ihugga Trump-republikaner, og Craig, som en ganske typisk grasrotdemokrat.
Has America changed in the last 4 years?
Yeah, it's gotten more racist, I'll tell you that.
That's the divide?
Yeah, before then, you really didn't know who was racist or who wasn't, because it was like all the people were closeted racists, you know, but now Trump gives them courage to come out underneath their rocks and stuff.
Really?
All these rednecks that love Trump, they like let their inner racists out. Yeah.
They came out of the closet?
Yeah.
What news sources do you use?
I do the Washington Post and the Huffington Post and the New York Times.
So you're basically, you rely on what critics call mainstream media.
Yeah.
Sort of left, liberal-leaning mainstream media.
Yeah, I guess.
So do you ever watch Fox News?
I do sometimes. Like, it's especially Brandy's dad used to have it all the time. On
Your former father-in-law?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Would you ever, I mean, did you believe what they said?
No.
Not?
Everything was so fake.
Really?
Yeah.
But there's their motto is fair and balanced.
No, it's not. It's not at all. They're biased. They're more biased than any news outlet.
Would some people say that New York Times or Huffington Post or that they are biased?
And I'm sure the real right-wing conservatives would, but not a normal, intelligent human being.
So I mean, our entire family has always been Democrats. How did Kim end up as a Republican?
I have no clue. I have no idea. I think maybe it's just where she lives in Texas, I guess, you know. And no offense to Kim and her family, but they don't really want to educate themselves on what's going on, you know.
So it's that, if you're like that, it's easier to vote Republican, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Craig har ikke akkurat høye tanker om søsterens politiske kompetansenivå. Men som Fredrik Skavlan pleier å si, nå ikke hun her for å forsvare seg. Så jeg må til Texas og snakke med Kim om dette.
She said we could just come in the door.
Hello.
Oh, my dogs.
Jeg møter henne sammen med svigerinnen og svigermoren hennes. Og denne jentetrioen godt samkjørte Trump-entusiaster.
Seems like you guys hang out a lot. You guys are friends. Do you have any Democrat friends?
I do have a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a friend that lives in
But-
England.
Well, I think so. Well, not that I see often. My brother's a Democrat.
Craig.
Yeah.
I went and visited Craig.
Yeah.
And he says the only reason you're a Republican is because you don't want to, because you're in Texas, he said, for some reason he mentioned Texas, and you don't want to educate yourself.
Really?
That's Craig.
Craig is, I don't care if he wants to be a Democrat or Republican, whatever he wants to do. But I'm entitled to my opinion too. I'm entitled to vote for who I want to, and it makes Craig mad. That's ridiculous. I'm not bashing you. I'm not saying a word about anything you're posting. Why can't you do the same?
Good. Kim, where do you get your news from?
TV and media, social media.
What do you watch?
Fox News. I love it.
You love it?
I love it.
Why is that?
Tell you the truth. Yeah, they don't run people down. You know, well, Trump did this. No, they say, Trump did this because, and they tell you why.
But won't they put other politicians down that they don't like?
No, they don't ever run anybody down.
They're just positive?
Yeah. I like positive, but I watch Fox News every night.
Is there a lot of fake news?
There's a bunch of fake news. Me and her, we'll send them back and forth to each other, and we're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Did you read this? Yeah.
What is it? What would that be?
Just stuff that...
CNN, MSNBC.
Yeah.
No, I'm not listening to them.
But was there a lot of bashing of Obama?
Actually, not as much. The bashing that Trump has taken is
from the day that he got
so
inaugurated.
much worse.
Yes, the day he got
And
inaugurated.
Obama had reasons because he didn't have a birth certificate.
Yeah. It was all false documents.
And it was false. And yes, he was born in Kenya.
Well, how would you know? How would you know?
Because it came out that it was true.
But is this sort of like America in miniature now? Are people not respecting other people's opinions? Has America become more polarized? More divided?
I think so.
Why is that?
I have no idea. If I knew the answer and I knew how to fix it, I would, but I don't.
I think because the Democrats divided us.
How do they do that?
The hatred.
Ja, snakk om polarisering i en og samme søskenflokk. Craig og Kim lever åpenbart i to adskilte virkeligheter. Men hvordan ble det sånn? Mediene har utvilsomt bidratt sterkt til denne delingen av Amerika. Helt siden 40-tallet var amerikansk radio og TV underlagt den såkalte fairness-doktrinen, et regelverk som krevde at kringkastere skulle etterstrebe objektivitet og nøytralitet.
For objectivity, accuracy, reliability, watch the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Men i 1987 sørget Reagan-administrasjonen for å avvikle dette lovverket. Og dermed var det fritt fram å bedrive ensidig formidling av verden og virkeligheten. Først ute var de såkalte talk-radio-kanalene, der sinte menn som Rush Limbaugh spydde politisk eder og galle utover eteren. Men det var bare begynnelsen. Den konservative TV-kanalen Fox fulgte etter, og i dag USA blitt et land der hyperpartiske kabel-TV-kanaler kverner ut en salig røre av sterke meninger, skyhøyt konfliktnivå og nyheter med en tydelig slagside.
What is wrong with the president today? We don't know. I mean, something's wrong.
No wonder Joe Biden headed to Gettysburg on Monday. He was babbling on there.
Alt sammen drevet av og for reklamepenger. Fordi polarisering av Amerika 24 timer I døgnet god butikk.
I want to hear you say, is that true? You've received more abuse for backing Donald Trump than for being the niece of Osama bin Laden.
Legg til sosiale medier I miksen, og du har et USA som har blitt et delt mediestammesamfunn.
So do you, I mean, what does your Facebook feed look like? I mean, if you post something anti-Trump, will any of your old classmates comment on that?
I've been unfriended by lots of people, but I've never unfriended anybody.
Because of politics?
Yeah.
Because they're pro-Trump?
Yeah. I at once, at my heyday, had 2,300 Facebook friends. And now I think I only have 1,600 or something like that.
1,000 people unfriended you?
Yeah. For Facebook, for, my political stuff.
Amerika delt I to, og det ikke bare på Facebook. Studier viser faktisk at hele 3/4 av amerikanere rett og slett ikke stoler på folk som stemmer på det andre partiet.
When I was growing up, parents worried about whether their kid was going to marry someone of a different race or of a different religion. You didn't want to have one of your kids marry a Catholic, for goodness sakes. That's now silly. Nobody pays attention to the race or religion of their kids. What they worry about now is, are they going to marry a Republican or a Democrat? Most American parents today are much more worried about whether their child is going to marry a person from a different political party.
Is it that tribal?
It's very tribal. That's what's happened. People want to be only with people like them. That's a serious risk. It's hard to maintain a democracy. We've gotten very far away from what made us great as a country.
Ja, dersom et demokrati skal fungere, må folk stole på hverandre. Og de må også stole på politikerne og på mediene. Men den tilliten der ganske tynnslitt I Amerika anno 2020. Og her har mediene kanskje seg selv å takke.
Saddam must disarm. Period.
La oss for eksempel ta en titt på noe som skjedde I 2003. For allerede da var polariseringen av mediene godt I gang. Men så samlet de seg entusiastisk om et felles prosjekt, nemlig å støtte Bush-administrasjonens invasjon av Irak.
We're attacking right down in the center of the city right now. Greg Kelly is with that unit. Things are happening, folks. You don't want to leave. Stay with us. It looks like it's going to be an interesting night.
Now, as the war enters its 5th year, we asked our correspondents to share some of their most vivid memories, their war stories.
Senere viste det seg imidlertid at beslutningen om å gå til krig var tatt på noe feilaktig grunnlag, og folk satt igjen med følelsen av at de var blitt lurt inn I det som etter hvert ble en av de lengste krigene I amerikansk historie. Og det ved hjelp av mediene, som jo skal passe på at sånt ikke skal skje. Og jeg mener at det la et godt grunnlag for at en viss president noen år senere kan bruke begrepet fake news om alle nyheter han ikke liker. Vel vitende om at dette begrepet resonerer godt hos veldig mange vonbråtne amerikanere.
They can make anything bad because they are the fake, disgusting news.
Det har rett og slett blitt skapt et svært sannhetsvakuum. Et vakuum som ble fylt av internettets mange såkalte alternative nyheter, konspirasjonsteorier og sosiale mediers ekkokamre. Og snipp, snapp, snute, så ble USA et slags eventyrland, der ingenting nødvendigvis 100% sant, men alt kan være mulig.
You should see me in a crowd. I'm gonna run, there's nothing to help. Watch me make them bow one by one.
Jeg på vei for å møte en av de som virkelig boltrer seg I dette nye eventyrlandet.
Hey man, how are you?
På 90-tallet var kanadiske Gavin McInnes med på å starte hipsterbibelen Vice Magazine, som med åra ble et internasjonalt mediekonsern og pengemaskin. Mye takket være deres respektløse og ofte hysterisk morsomme journalistikk.
So they call you a Nazi,
They call you a white supremacist, and then you go, what? No, I'm not. And they go, oh, trying to launder your image, are we?
Det han nå driver med er ikke like morsomt, mener mange. For som stuntkommentator, kontroversiell radiovert og grunnlegger av den høyreradikale mannegruppa Proud Boys har han blitt en lederskikkelse for sinte menn på høyresiden. Jeg ble invitert hjem til Gavin I en av New Yorks mest eksklusive forsteder, en kort kjøretur fra Manhattan.
What's this? Is this the ocean?
It is salty.
The water's okay.
There's a beach right down there.
Yeah.
Very small beach, but...
Wow. So all those do's and don'ts paid off, huh?
Yeah.
The advice, do's and don'ts. So anyways, okay, let's start. You ready?
Yep.
For some cheap shots?
Let's do it. Oh, shit.
You went from being a Canadian anarchist vegan.
Yep.
And then became sort of a far-right pundit or tribal leader?
Yeah, I think far-right is just, it's when people want to call you a Nazi, but if you're litigious, they don't want to risk it. So the new nomenclature is far-right. But it should have some bearing in reality. And I don't know what's far-right about me. I'm dubious of Islam. I think our immigration is out of control. But outside of that, I don't care who's gay. I want the drug war ended. I think we have way too many people in prison. I want free speech for everyone. Like, my views are just Obama's views in 2004. But the left has become so far left that they see far right as the center.
You were one of the three founders of Vice, which was sort of the beacon of hipsterdom. You, in a sense, you sort of invented being a hipster, modern hipster.
That was their Moses. That was their Moses.
You were the Moses of hipsters.
By nature, I'm like Jesus Christ.
You abandoned the hipster movement, as you say. You left them behind. You're kind of like Forrest Gump when he stops running.
Yeah.
And then you started something called the Proud Boys.
Yeah, I
what
mean,
is the?
So
describe what it is.
I've always been in media, and I've always been talking to people, and I genuinely care about the world and want to make it better. So I started doing this show called The Gavin McInnes Show, and then Trump started running. We still were multiracial: blacks, Jews, Asians, gays. Not that gays are
the Proud Boys.
Yes.
You have any gays there?
Oh, tons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have any blacks there?
Hordes.
You have any Muslims there?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. The West is the best is the main criteria now.
Proud Boys hyller en tradisjonell versjon av vestlig machokultur, og de fremstiller seg gjerne som en blanding av drikkeklubb og livgarde for høyresidens kjendiser. De definerer seg som den naturlige motsatsen til den venstre-radikale gruppa Antifa. Proud Boys har de siste årene havnet i flere høyprofilerte gatekamper. De har blitt beskyldt for trakassering og trusler, og medlemmer har blitt dømt for overfall. I den første TV-debatten mellom Trump og Biden ble de nevnt av begge kandidatene, og Trump tiltalte dem jaggu som om han var deres kommandant.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
So it's to promote Western chauvinism.
Yes.
Why is Western chauvinism a good thing?
Well, you know, chauvinism isn't male chauvinism. Chauvinism is extreme patriotism. So everyone thought it was just a dumb goof, right? And then when the Trump thing happened, overnight, we became, the SPLC decided we were a hate group.
Which is the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Yeah. So the Proud Boys were just a fun bunch of guys. Now they're a violent hate group that stalks the streets, killing people for no reason.
Because some violence eventually occurred, right?
Well, there's places like Portland where violence is inevitable. I mean, Antifa are on the street controlling traffic.
But then you guys show up and counter them?
We escort conservative speakers. But because the DNC and the media, they turned it into a hate group, roaming the streets, beating people who disagree with them. Well, yeah, I guess it was technically people who disagree with them.
So you're describing a society where political violence is there.
Exactly.
Okay. There's a lot of tension in the world today, and I don't think that's...
Well, we're at war.
I don't think that's
we're in a
something-
culture war.
But
it's like with Vietnam. You were either pro-Vietnam War or not pro-Vietnam War, but this is something that has to get settled, and it's going to ruin Thanksgiving, it's going to ruin Christmas. We are in a situation right now where siblings aren't speaking, and it's a culture war where I'm not open to debate anymore. And I learned this the hard way. When I'm saying that, I'm not talking about me per se. I'm saying the average American is like, you're with us or against us.
You don't want to hear people that you disagree with because America is so divided? What are you doing these days?
I'm doing this website, Seltzer.tv, which brings me to my next point. An open debate, an open forum in 2020 is no longer interesting to Americans. We're all being lied to. Like, everyone lies about me and Proud Boys, but that's just the beginning. Everyone's lying about America. And I think the media is almost solely responsible for this. This is our secret location.
Gavin I dag utestengt fra de største sosiale medieplattformene, og virksomheten hans nå for tiden består stort sett av internettkanalen Seltzer TV. Et av de faste innslagene der et prateprogram som han selv leder.
Hello, faggot.
Hello.
Hi there. These are my Oslo friends.
Oh, hello, Oslo friend. Ryan, nice to meet you.
Hi, Ryan. Hi. So here we are, Gavin McInnes' headquarters of hate.
Yep. This is where we design our swastikas and plan our hate rallies and locate our next targets.
But seriously, is there some kind of ideological reason behind dressing up like a grown man?
Yeah, it shows pride. We're Proud Boys. This is where we do the show. Get off my lawn. I do a daily show here in New York City. It's live Thursday nights. We take calls, but we usually shoot the shit. And today we're showing an instructional video on how to fight.
Yeah.
Do you want to show that?
Sure.
Hey guys, I'm just going to show you some basic punches here.
So why do you have to train fighting? Why do you have to practice fighting?
I'm constantly getting attacked.
Yeah? Have you fought lately?
Yes. Yeah, Milo was attacked recently. We went out for dinner, and some Antifa kid punched him in the face. We were also attacked in D.C. at Roger Stone's trial.
I thought some girl poured some water on you.
There was that, yep. We had some water poured on her. I got really well, though. I had a Guinness, and I just went, whoosh!
Oh, yeah?
Drenched her, yeah.
I tillegg til Get Off My Lawn står Gavin bak et ukentlig, litt spesielt TV-show ledet av den britiske høyreprovokatøren Milo Yiannopoulos. Han gjorde rakettkarriere på høyrenettsiden Breitbart og fikk en profilert posisjon i Trump-universet. Men etter noen kontroversielle uttalelser om pedofili ble han skjøvet ut i kulda. Derfor prøver han nå å gjøre et slags comeback med hjelp fra Gavin og en noe broket forsamling gjester i studio. Blant annet den selvtitulerte maga-popstjerna Ricky Rebel.
What's this show called? I mean, what?
Friday Night's All Right. This is our Uncensored.tv's. This is our Friday night show.
You're the producer? Or it's your channel?
Yeah, it's on my channel.
So he has a weekly show?
Hold on one second. Yes.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. Free to be the real, the sheep, the all fucking sheep, the sheep.
Litt av et sirkus. Jeg måtte ta en spontan prat med denne Milo-figuren. For jeg har nemlig stusset over at han ved flere anledninger har oppfordret til drap på amerikanske journalister og politikere. Og jeg må ærlig innrømme at jeg ikke synes noe om at innvandrere skal holde på sånn i et land som så raust å ta dem imot. Enten de heter Mulla Krekar eller Milo Yiannopoulos.
There's a lot of anger in the world now. You know, places like West Virginia.
Glad to hear it.
You're glad to hear it?
Yes.
Do you think there's...
We should be making America hate again.
Why?
Well, because...
Are you serious now or are you trolling?
No, I'm very serious because for a long time we've been consumed with this cult of niceness, of political correctness, of etiquette, of not treading on people's feelings, of, all the rest of it.
Because, I'm American myself, and, this country welcomes people with open arms. And,
it should welcome fewer people with less open arms.
But how about you? You're a foreigner, and you come here, and, don't you create division? Like when you say that journalists should be shot and killed?
I don't say journalists should be shot. Do you think? I mean, you've met me, you've seen my show. Do you think that I am lusting after right-wing death squads to gun people down? Does that strike you as a plausible expression of my views?
I don't know, but
no, of course you don't know. Yes, you do know, and the answer is obviously no. That's obviously trolling. It's obviously a joke. It's obviously stupid. If you then report that as a sincere wish for a particular group of people to be exterminated, then you are the problem, not me. This is bullshit. So we're done.
Okay, Milo, one last question.
No. If you want to interview somebody of my stature and caliber, do your homework, show up on time, and pay me the respect that I was prepared to pay you.
Well, we didn't even know there was going to be an interview here.
Not my problem.
Dårlig stemning.
Welcome to America. Jesus Christ.
Why is America so divided right now?
A lot of reasons. We've really come apart as a nation where there's the elites and the working class. And we used to fraternize more, but maybe it's because of social media. We don't fraternize as much and we're separate. And that's also led to this sort of culture wars where we have people who want a traditionalist culture and we have radicals, and they're both fighting to see who gets to define this country.
Do you see any way out of that?
Yeah, I mean, we've been through this before, and I think it's going to take a lot of violence.
Really?
Yeah, I think that after 2020, when Trump gets reelected, you're going to see the radical left go absolutely ballistic. So I think we're going to see extreme street violence. And you threw all my guys in jail, so it's going to just be Antifa destroying cities.
That's scary.
Well, it makes for good TV.
Når polarisering blir til rene gatekamper, som igjen blir til gode seertall, ja, da er det dårlige kår for dialog og løsningsorientert politikk. Jeg tenker at det skaper en avmaktsfølelse som gjør at amerikanerne desperat forsøker å klistre små plaster på de mange store sårene som preger dette landet. Og det er vel ingen problemer som illustrerer denne avmakten bedre enn responsen på de mange skoleskytingene i USA.
Please take a moment to spend time with that front office staff. They are the ones that always feel that they're going to be the first one in the line of fire. And they are truly vulnerable. So it's all about thinking through what they can use and knowing they can use it. Nothing is sacred. Nothing is sacred.
So explain, what do you do here?
We're a training, consulting, and protection company, and we provide safety and security training. I was in law enforcement for 20 years, and I've always wanted to serve in protecting others that could not protect themselves. As we had more and more of these incidents, I realized people like me can't be everywhere all the time. So I really have a passion for teaching people, teaching my family, my loved ones, and other people how to keep themselves safe when you don't have trained protectors around.
All right, guys, go out, we want to prosper, be safe, you know, do what you need to do.
What are you doing today?
Today, the market we're going to serve today is schools. We're going to be training a different type of first responder. We've really got into training the true first responder, the people that are on scene when the crisis begins. Teach them what they need to know to how to keep themselves safe before law enforcement.
And what kind of crisis are we talking about?
We're talking about a violent intruder, whether that
a school shooter.
Could be a shooter, could be somebody with a knife. Today we are going to do training where we're going to try to simulate as close as we can to the real thing with gunshot simulators and lockdown devices and things of that nature.
Told us that she was eating lunch in the lunchroom when all of a sudden a guy started shooting into the lunchroom.
Det var året etter massakren på Columbine High School i Colorado i 1999 at de første kursene for hvordan man skal håndtere en masseskyting dukket opp. Siden Columbine har nesten 250,000 amerikanske elever opplevd en eller annen form for skoleskyting. Og særlig når det rammer de aller yngste barna, som på Sandy Hook-skolen, så er det åpenbart at denne typen vold er spesielt vanskelig å stadig måtte forholde seg til.
The majority of those who died today were children. Beautiful little kids between the ages of 5 and 10 years old.
Det jaggu trøstesløst å se at den særamerikanske cocktailen av en mektig våpenindustri, grunnlovsfestede våpenrettigheter, mistillit og frykt gjør at landet blir handlingslammet og politisk fastlåst, uansett hva slags blodbad som utspiller seg I klasserommene.
Look, the investigation's not even been completed, and I think it's premature to be discussing legislative solutions if there are any.
Og siden politikken ikke har klart å håndtere problemet, vokser det fram en milliardindustri av midlertidige løsninger. Med alt fra skuddsikre skolesekker til sikkerhetsopplæring, som den Strategos driver med.
How many people are we going to be instructing here today?
150.
150 teachers?
Yeah, and staff and support staff and everything. And here's what I'll tell them. I always tell all my groups, I hope what we did here today, we wasted your time. Because I pray to God it never happens. I pray to God no one ever comes in here and shoots this place up.
Well, obviously you don't want that to happen, of course.
No.
But what if all school shootings stopped? You guys would be out of business.
Well, unfortunately, it won't happen. I can tell you what human nature does. Just recently down in Texas, do you know that shooting we had? Where if it wasn't for an armed guy, more people would have died. Did you see what those people did? It seemed like the whole congregation got down in a pew. Some of them could have got out. Did you see what the old dude in the corner did at the church? He ducked, grabbed his gun, and what did he do next? He had startle and fear, but he dealt with his fear. And he thought, I have to do something or he's going to shoot more of these people.
$3 billion a year is going into school shooter preparation. That's a lot of money.
It is, and but we do what our parents demand that we do as a school district. And we're protecting those parents' most important asset, which is their kids. So their parents, they can't learn if they don't feel safe. And so we have to spend that kind of money to not only make people feel safe, but to have some true preparedness.
Is this sort of a fear industry, though? I mean, the parents obviously are very concerned for their children. So, I mean, it's sort of feeding off that fear. Are you helping to diminish that fear?
Yeah, once they see that their school district is doing something that's effective, that will reduce fear, not increase it. The fear is there. We can't do anything about that other than show them that we are doing something to solve that. We're not trying to feed the fear, we're trying to reduce it.
This is a paintball gun. You guys, I call this what? The motivator. It's designed to motivate you, right? I'm going to square this thing off right now so you get at least an idea what it sounds like, right?
How do the school shootings affect, do they affect you at all?
Like when they happen at other schools, yeah, it makes it real, like it could happen to me. It's an eye-opening thing, like this is reality. I need to be ready to go because it could happen at any time.
Go, go, go!
Why are there so many school shootings in the United States?
I think, well, me personally, I think kids are. I think mental health is a big issue. Depression is an issue. You know, why does crime happen anyway? You know, whether it's a school shooting or a robbery, like what is the point of any of it? So I think that when kids do it, I believe that it's a mental health thing.
So how do you feel about doing a drill like you did today?
I think it's really important because then it makes it more true to life, like it can really happen, and we have the scenarios that gets us ready for if it were to happen. I mean, as ready as you can be if something like that were to happen. Going through those motions, the more you go through it, the more you're ready for if something were to happen like that. I mean, none of us want it to occur, obviously. You know, and in the end, I mean, I have young children, you have a child. I mean, we would want to know, and when I hear my children come home and say that they know this and they know that, I'm very happy. It makes me feel better sending my kids to school every day.
Do you talk to your kids about it?
Yeah, I mean, I talk to my children about, you know, what are you supposed to do? What did you go over in class? Because we get notified as parents if they're having that training to know that that conversation could come up and talk to the kids about it to know that, yeah, it's real. It's not just on TV. It really could happen, and, you know, that there's a reason for it.
lights.
Ja, det rart å være tilbake på skolebenken, holdt jeg på å si. Altså, se at lærere jo de samme verden over. Det jo folk med dårlig hår og fotformsko og veldig myke folk, da. Å se dem i en sånn kontekst hvor de må forsvare seg mot skarpladde våpen, det veldig, veldig rart.
Jeg tenker likevel at det bra at disse lærerne forholder seg til en virkelighet hvor skoleskytinger faktisk finner sted. For det det ikke alle som gjør i dette amerikanske sannhetsvakuumet. Dette Alex Jones, konspirasjonsteorikonge og programleder. I flere år sjokkerte han omverdenen ved å raljere om at massakren på Sandy Hook ikke hadde skjedd på ordentlig, men var en såkalt falsk flaggoperasjon utført av skuespillere. Siden 1999 har han ved hjelp av denne og andre spinnville påstander bygd opp Infowars til å bli en av USAs største uavhengige mediekanaler. Gjerne med litt høyprofilert drahjelp.
Donald, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Alex. Great to be with you.
Og et ganske så inntektsbringende salg av kosttilskudd.
We've got all the other great items, DNA Force Plus, X2. Boosting your immune system is just as important as having storable foods. For economic collapse, for war, for whatever. It's a great investment and it funds the InfoWar.
Og selv om han har måttet gå tilbake på noen av de mer groteske påstandene, så har Jones vært svært sentral for at konspirasjonsfortellinger har fått stadig større plass i den amerikanske offentligheten. Ikke minst fordi han var en av de første som pushet teorien om at demokratene driver en verdensomspennende pedofiliring.
4. desember 2016 var en ganske dramatisk dag her på denne pizzarestauranten i Washington DC. Da opplevde nemlig vettskremte familier på søndagsmiddag at 29 år gamle Edgar Madison Welch kom inn på restauranten og fyrte av 3 skudd med en automatrifle. Welch var overbevist om at Hillary Clinton holdt barn fanget i kjelleren på pizzarestauranten og brukte dem som sexslaver. Og denne nok så pikante teorien, kjent som Pizzagate, det fremdeles millioner av amerikanere som tror på.
Hi there.
Look what I got. Come on.
Don't tell the other guy in there. Have you heard this one theory that people in Hillary Clinton's circle were running a child sex ring?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Wow. I heard all about that. And then also, her and her husband took a whole lot of different people and they flew them over to different islands because they were called sex islands. Mm-hmm.
You believe it?
There was actually a documentary on it. The whole thing.
Where's that island at?
What?
She said, where's that island at?
The Swingers Island?
I think it's they must be.
So where would you hear, I mean, have you heard this too?
Yes.
Where do you hear it from?
News.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Mainly Facebook, though.
But they had
the news on Facebook, because it'll be like, there's a certain
like
part,
news feeds.
there'll be, the news feeds, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be from a news service.
Right.
Yeah.
Amerikanerne har alltid hatt en forkjærlighet for konspirasjonsteorier, men i det siste har det tatt helt av. Og jeg mener denne strømmen av galskap i ferd med å bli en reell trussel mot selve demokratiet. For så etablert har visse deler av konspi-USA blitt, at flere titalls tilhengere av den omstridte QAnon-teorien nå på vei inn i politikken på republikansk side. Og det viser seg at stadig flere Trump-tilhengere tror på denne QAnon-konspirasjonen om at djeveldyrkende pedofile kannibaler, ledet av mektige demokrater, prøver å styrte presidenten. Dette på sett og vis tragikomisk, men i bunnen av denne konspigalskapen tror jeg det ligger et dypt menneskelig behov. Nemlig behovet for å skape sammenheng i et samfunn som har blitt stadig mer kaotisk og skremmende. Og siden jeg var på min reise gjennom USA tidligere i år, har ikke landet blitt noe mindre kaotisk og skremmende, for å si det mildt. Det er mye som har skjedd siden jeg var i USA sist. Jeg vil høre hvordan det går med noen av disse menneskene jeg møtte på min reise, nå rett før valget.
Hi. Hey, Bubba, how are you? Where's your mom? I hear you.
I'm right here.
Hey,
Hi.
how are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Looking good.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Linda.
Hi. How are you boys?
It's good seeing you again.
Yeah, absolutely.
How are you doing these days, Linda?
Well, I mean, don't get shot in the fucking face, isn't it?
What happened? Because you even made the news in Norway. What happened?
I was covering the protests in Minneapolis. So I was just a photojournalist, and they shot me for that.
Who shot you?
The Minneapolis Police Department.
They shot you in the eye?
Yeah, with a 44 millimeter foam round. Colloquially, a rubber bullet. Which is about the size, it's about the size of your fist.
Really?
And it hit me directly in my goggles on the left side of my face and immediately exploded the globe of my eye. So it left me permanently blind in my left eye.
Was that intentionally, that shot?
Yes, I have pictures actually of the few minutes because I was a photographer. So I was actually taking photos of them as they were drawing down and aiming at me. So I have the last photos that I took with two good eyes are of the police getting ready to shoot me.
Police shooting journalists intentionally. What's happening?
Well, the thing is, it's not new. What's been different this year, and I think it might be down to Trump, when you have the leader of the free world spending 4 years saying, these are your enemy, you should hate these people, and he points at the back of the rallies and he has the crowd performatively boo as though it were a 2 minutes hate, it's not unlikely that law enforcement would then take that as a permissive, these are your enemy. This is happening because the country is coming apart. The nation is coming apart. The empire is grinding to a halt.
So how do you feel about the riots in Minneapolis?
So I'll tell you the truth. I've just never felt more free in my life. I understand to a lot of people that would have been a scary situation. It was quite chaotic. Like, we truly owned the streets, and that was a pretty liberating feeling.
How do you feel about the fires and the looting and all that stuff?
America doesn't care about people. America cares about property. So by folks destroying property, they're truly hitting America where it hurts.
You said last time we met, Hawk, that America has to fear, I quote, we'll burn this bitch down. Is that what just happened over the summer?
Yeah. Sounds like something I'd say.
So Trump started tweeting about you.
Since Donald Trump called me treasonous and a traitor, I've received a lot of death threats. So I move around a lot. I try not to stay in one place too long.
Wow.
Throughout America's history, white supremacists hate people like me. So it's not even a mystery why he would tweet something that would put a target on my back. You know what? Fuck Donald Trump. Like, he's a white supremacist.
Do these threats scare you?
I mean, I'm a human being. I'm concerned, but we ain't scared.
So last time I met with you and Blake and Amima, you were still in school, and Blake was unemployed. What's changed?
So I'm done with my nursing program. So I got my degree, and I work at in Georgetown now. Blake got through a little school called ENG. His job is an installation of robotics.
How do you notice COVID? How's it affected you?
Oh gosh, it's affecting everything. So my job right now is literally in a clinic that opened for COVID. And they do temp checks all around the Toyota factory. So look, people drive through here. They drive their cars from right here to right here. They either roll their window down or get out, and I take their temperature. Here's my little temperature gauge.
Oh, yeah. From your Facebook, I see you're a big Trump supporter. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it about him that you like so much?
Multiple things. For one, Trump has done his best to keep on his promises, and I don't think that I can even remember a president that has really came through on his promises the way that Trump has. I like Trump. I think he's really good for this country. I really do.
Do you think that Trump might have been a little reckless when it came to not wearing masks? And, don't you think this has affected people? Yeah,
so
he got
now
it.
He knows. I think that Trump's influence has probably led people to get sick for 100%. Because a lot of these people are like, well, if Trump don't wear a mask, why would I wear a mask?
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have definitely done better. He could have definitely set an example that was better.
What's been the most important thing that's happened to you guys since I was visiting you?
Mark got a job.
Oh, yeah? What is it?
Back to painting and sandblasting, but he found a job here in town.
How's the pay?
It's decent. It's good. I mean,
it's steady.
Yeah, it's steady. That's the most important thing. We're doing way better than we were before.
How's school going, Bubba?
It's going good. I'm taking some college classes right now and just trying to keep up with it.
Are you still set on going to MIT?
I want to go to MIT, but if I don't, I'll probably stay closer to home so I can help my mom.
Your mom is a big Trump supporter, and there's an election around the corner. I honestly don't know which way you're leaning. Have you voted?
Which way am I leaning? I'm not ever. I really haven't been into politics.
Are you going to vote?
That's still up in the air.
What do you think it's going to be?
Honestly, I think Trump's going to win. Biden is more, I hate to say it, but for the wealthy.
Regardless of who wins the election, what do you think will happen next?
Yeah, no, America's got a long road from here. We have proven and kind of uncovered all of these problems that we had previously, politely pretended didn't exist.
America will continue to be a racist place, man. Just slightly more racist with one guy and the other.
Do you see any hope?
I would like for America to bring jobs to Eastern Kentucky. For one.
Do you have any hope for that part of America?
I have a lot of hope for it. Is it realistic hope? Probably not.
I think that those of us scarred by these years, and I mean that both physically and metaphorically, I think those of us scarred by these years are we're never going to get over this. And I think that when you live through something like that, it's gonna change the way you see the world and the way you see your country and the way you see your countrymen. And I don't see reconciliation in my generation, at least. But I think maybe my children will.
I'm just hoping they aren't going to be powered by their own greed and selfishness, that they'll actually help everybody instead of putting themselves first.
Whoever takes it, I just hope that things get better. 2020 has been a rough year for everybody.
I'm glad you guys are okay, all things considered.
Me too. I'm glad we've made it this long without any craziness.
Thank you so much, Linda. It's really nice. It's really nice seeing you again. Stay safe and take care of yourself, and good luck in all your endeavors.
All right, God bless you and the family, man.
Well, nice talking to you again. I'm glad you guys are doing good.
Yes, I'm glad to talk to you too. You all holler anytime.
Here somewhere, huh? You live here? We're looking for this. There used to be a farm here, Amos Smith. You remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, Amos was my great-grandfather. Me and my cousin are here trying to find Amos's farm.
His house was still sitting, and it would probably have been just on this side of that building.
Oh, the big one?
Yes.
So where the Willows restaurant is, that's where Amos's house was.
Min jakt etter den amerikanske drømmen slutter her ute på prærien, hvor Craig og jeg har røtter helt tilbake til 1870-tallet. Her pløyde oldefar Amos den fruktbare jorda, og herfra reiste bestefar Frederick Michael for å kjempe i andre verdenskrig. Når jeg nå forlater USA, så er jeg trist. Men jeg er selv en amerikansk drømmer, og jeg er ikke villig til å gi opp troen på mitt første hjemland. For både oldefar og bestefar opplevde også tider som dette, der rå pengemakt skapte en grotesk ulikhet og splittelse som truet med å begrave den amerikanske drømmen. Men de opplevde også at folket her gjennom felles løft klarte å gjenreise drømmen for de fleste amerikanere. Mitt håp er at amerikanerne nok en gang skal greie å grave opp drømmen fra denne præriejorda. Men enn så lenge spøker det for den amerikanske drømmen. Og i stedet er det motløshetens og fryktens fugleskremsler som ruver over dette massive landet. Et land hvor mange ikke lenger engang våger å drømme. Here's Grandpa. Ja, kanskje er han inne på noe, rustbeltet store trubadur i den sangen om elva, når han stiller spørsmålet: er en drøm en løgn dersom den ikke går i oppfyllelse, eller er det noe verre enn det?
Is a dream alive that don't come true, or is it something worse that sends me down to the river? Oh, I know the river is dry, that sends me down to the river tonight.
American dream is freedom to say what you want to say without someone coming up and telling you to shut up. And that's it.